Yeah. I forgot when I was welcoming everybody, completely forgot to welcome anybody that's joining us on Zoom or is watching on YouTube. I haven't quite got my head around the new technology yet, so apologies for that, and you are really welcome. Um, we're just going to go on to a Bible reading, and I've asked Christine to come and do that. That's in Jeremiah chapter 9, and it's just 20 to 24.
Now, O women, hear the word of the Lord. Open your ears to the words of his mouth. Teach your daughters how to wail. Teach one another a lament. Death has climbed in through our windows and has entered our fortresses. It has cut off the children from the streets and the young men from the public squares. Say, this is what the Lord declares. The dead bodies of men will lie like refuse on the open field, like cut grain behind the reaper, with no one to gather them. This is what the Lord says. Let not the wise man boast of his wisdom, or the strong man boast of his strength, or the rich man boast of his riches. But let him who boasts boast about this, that he understands and knows me, and that I am the Lord, who exercises kindness, justice, and righteousness on earth. For in these I delight, declares the Lord.
Thanks, Christine. It's quite a challenge for us to unpick this morning. I'm now going to go into a sharing time. If anybody's brought anything that God's been doing in their life, or a passage that's meant something to them, or while during this period of reflection, anything that they think God has prompted them to say about what our mission here. I'm just hoping somebody has got something. Okay.
I was listening to a song on the way here that I thought I should share the bit of a lyric to, which was coming down, and it was I was driving here and it was raining and grey, and I thought this is July, not great, is it? But this is England in July for now. I'm sure it'll perk up again at some point, but I wasn't really loving the weather. And as it came around the corner into church, the line in the song was, "In the dry and weary land, Lord, you are the rain." And so I thought it would be good to remember on the days when we feel like complaining about the rain, that how important the rain is in the bigger picture and in our lives. You know, if there's a desert or the ground is drenched, just sort of really dry and dusty, and plants don't grow and there isn't life in the desert. And sometimes it feels like that in our lives. We're really in a desert. There just doesn't seem like any hope for um, for refreshing. I've lived in a desert when we lived in Saudi. It can be really hot and dry, and there isn't any water anywhere, and it isn't a good thing. And in our lives, sometimes I think it sometimes feels like the whole landscape looks like a desert. And but God's Spirit just can restore us and revive us, and that actually in a desert you wonder when the rain's going to come, but in our lives we can go to Jesus anytime and just invite him to come into the difficult places in our lives. and refresh us and be what we need. So just remember that He could be the rain in our dry places. And maybe remember that when you see the weather this week.
Thanks, Maria. That's really helpful. Has anybody else got anything that God's been saying over these last few weeks? Right, well, we'll move on to. Oh,
I saw a Jeff Lucas post yesterday, and it made me wonder. I wonder what Jeff's preaching about at the moment. So I looked on YouTube. He's in Colorado still. I think he splits his time between the UK and Colorado. But they're doing a series in their church about the Bible and nature. And he did a sermon on birds and how birds know their way home and migration, and they know where they were born all those years ago, whatever number of years, and they can fly back 4,000 miles to go back home. And he was preaching on the prodigal son at the same time, and how the prodigal son knew to go home. And it made me wonder about where is home for us and what's home for us, and are we away from home? Do we need to return home, whatever home means? And he used a passage from Jeremiah, and it's either before or after or whatever of the passage that Sam might be using for preaching. So that was a bit spooky. A sin and punishment is the heading. Say to them, this is what the Lord says. When people fall down, do they not get up? When someone turns away, do they not return? Why then have these people turned away? Why does Jerusalem always turn away? They cling to deceit. They refuse to return. I've listened attentively, but they do not say what is right. None of them repent of their wickedness, saying, what have I done? Each pursues their own course like a horse charging into battle. Even the stork in the sky knows her appointed seasons, and the dove, the swift, and the thrush observe the time of their migration. But my people do not know the requirements of the Lord. How can you say we are wise, for we have the law of the Lord, when actually the lying pen of the scribes has handled it falsely? The wise will be put to shame. They will be dismayed and trapped. Since they have rejected the word of the Lord, what kind of wisdom do they have? When I was thinking about what I was going to share today, if anything, I was reminded of somebody reading Hebrews 1 at a big Christian event. And I remember the guy just prefacing it with, this is all about the supremacy of Jesus. I love that word, supremacy. It's like the highest place. In the past, God spoke to our ancestors through the prophets at many times and in various ways. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the universe. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he had provided purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven. So he became as much superior to the angels as the name he has inherited is superior to theirs. For to which of the angels did God ever say, you are my son, today I have become your father? Or again, I will be his father and he will be my son. And again, when God brings his firstborn into the world, he says, let all God's angels worship him. In speaking of the angels, he says, he makes his angels spirits and his servants flames of fire. But about the Son, he says, your throne, O God, will last forever and ever. A scepter of justice will be the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of joy. He also says, in the beginning, Lord, you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you remain. They will all wear out like a garment. You will roll them up like a robe. Like a garment, they will be changed, but you remain the same, and your years will never end. To which of the angels did God ever say, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet? Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?
yeah, thanks, Simon. Dorothy. You don't, no. You just have to speak up so everybody can hear. Mm, yeah. But also have taken their faith to wherever they've gone. This church has been really important for me in growing my faith. And many of us here will feel the same. Yeah, it's good to be reminded of that. I think particularly as we think about the kind of 50 years that we've been in this building. Yeah. Has anybody else got yet?
My tumble dryer's broken. And it's just a bit of an analogy, really. Yesterday, I'd been out and to Fat Club Saturday morning. Come back, took my mum shopping, and then come back. And Simon comes out of the house to tell me that the tumble dryer's broken. Because of course it's the first thing I want to hear when I get home after a busy morning. And so he comes out and says the tumble dryer's broken. And I think, oh, we're going to need a new one. I was like, no, I'll have a go. But I fixed it before. So it'll just need cleaning out. All fluff will have got stuck and it'll just need a really good clean out. So we got the Hoover and a pokey stick and started faffing about with hot fillers, emptying the water drawer, making sure everything was sucked out. But when you press the button, it made a buzzing noise. So there was some life still in it. And you're just like, press the buzzer. And no, it's not coming on. And so how long must I have been there? An hour? Faffing about with it, thinking it will work. And so I thought, it's not working. So then I had to pull it out because it's in the cupboard outside our house, it's wedged in. So pulled it out. YouTube, you can find everything on YouTube. YouTube, how do I fix this tumble dryer? If it's making a buzzing sound, or what's up with it? And so do that and this and other. And it says take top off, and you're just like, oh. You know, I sometimes think it's how we might think God deals with us. Sometimes you just want him to wave a magic wand. Can you say that? You just want him to fix it. It could just be fixed. Your life, things that are going wrong, things that don't quite work properly, physical, mental, whatever. You just want it fixing. And I don't say I felt like God, but I'm spending hours trying to fix this machine. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to get a new one. And then just keep going. So then took the top off. And I sometimes think, sometimes God has to deal with things and help us deal with things so that if it happens again, we know how to deal with it or go to him again. It's sometimes the reason God doesn't just heal you just like that is because there's a process you need to go through for your own growth and for your own well-being or coping next time, maybe. And so I've got the back off, the man says, do this. So you spin the thing from the top. Now you're inside the machine. And it starts going. And Simon's out the study window upstairs. Oh, look, going, have you got it working? No, it's still broken. It just means that if it does that, then this particular part needs replacing. So I'm thinking, oh, great, a part needs replacing. I can't do that. And I'm thinking, no, you know what? I bet I can. So Google, I watched this video a bit further and thought, I can do that. I just need to get that part. I can fix this. And so went on Amazon, ordered the part. It's coming today. So it may fix. It may not fix. I just think we should not always be hasty to think, God, why are you not fixing this now? Why am I having to endure? Why? You see, I might fix that machine and it'll cost me £5 to fix it if it fixes, because the part's only £5.50. So it's just like, this might fix for £5.50 and it saved 200 and whatever pound it would have been for a new basic tumble dryer. And just think, God knows what he's doing. He's not faffing about with the screwdriver thinking, am I going to blow myself up here? He knows what he's doing. When he is rooting things out in us, when he is putting things right in us, when he is letting us walk a difficult path, it's never not for a reason going forward. So God will walk it with you, and please know you're never alone, and he does care, and he could just fix it. But maybe he's going to use that going forward to help fix somebody else, help you be his hands and his feet in another situation because you walked the path.
God's amazing, isn't he? You know what I'm going to say.
You've got a spare tumble dryer?
No. God's amazing because when he speaks and you think it's in isolation to you or to what you... And then somebody else comes up with something that's akin to what you've been talking about, and that's God reiterating exactly what we've been saying. We had our life group on Wednesday morning. We always say, whatever happens in life group stays in life, a bit like in Vegas stays in Vegas, you know that. But that's obviously when personal things are being spoken about. But there was something that came up, and we went off track a bit. I don't know why that happened, can't imagine. We went off track a bit, and we ended up talking about exactly what you've been talking about, Rachel, about God not always working right now. Right, why don't you fix it now, please? And you can't see a reason why God's not fixing it now. Why isn't he doing it now? It would be a lot better if he did it now, and that's what I'm asking for, and we're praying for, and we're asking for, and it's not happening. But there's always a reason, and you can't find that reason till often a long time later. We all spoke of things, and one of the things that Tracy did mention is we live in we have instant coffee, instant tea, instant telly. If you can't wait till next week to watch the next bit of this, you can go on to iPlayer or whatever. Instant. God doesn't work like that always. Sometimes he does, but he doesn't always. And I'm just so grateful. I'm not glad your dryer's broke. But I'm glad you've told us, because you've just reiterated something that was being said. And I wouldn't mention that because that seemed for them, but it's for now. And I think that's a message that you've brought to this place, to these people, to us here, and to whoever's listening. Hang on in there. Hang on in there, because God's with us. I read a little thing once about, it's like you're driving your car. And I always say, like, I'm going somewhere, when we were going to Craig's the other week, and I said, just keep me safe, God. Keep me safe on this road and bring me back. And if you've got him here, sat here with you at the end in that passage. And it's great going with Jesus in the passenger seat. But wouldn't it be better if you let him drive? Because then you wouldn't take that wrong turning, would you? You wouldn't miss that bit if you let him drive. And that's stuck in my mind as well. So I mean, obviously you have to let him drive because other people come in. If you want in the driver's seat, they might. But you know what I'm saying? Let him drive in your life. So thanks for that, Rachel. You brought it all in, and it is just what we were saying, isn't it? Lorraine said something really deep about what was happening in hers, and we were thinking about it all. And there's a reason every time, but you don't know it till later. We just don't know. So just thanks for that.
And something else that's broken is my car. The brake warning light and red warning light was on about a month ago. I finally got the red brake light cleared. The car was MOT'd last Saturday. They need to get a part for the ABS. The ABS warning light is still on. It's still roadworthy, but it's a fail for the MOT if they can't get this light off. When I took the car in yesterday to Shipley, the driving centre for those that know Shipley, really helpful guys there, by the way. No money changed hands. He comes walking out to me, and I'm thinking, oh, this is interesting service. I usually have to walk into there. Why is he coming down to the car park? And he said, oh, I'm really sorry. The other guy should have rung me yesterday to say that we can't get the part. And it's on back order. I need to ring them on Monday to find out when you can get it. My MOT runs out on Thursday, I think. And it may be that if you can't get the part, I can't drive the car. They have said things about might be able to get it off on the test for like a couple of seconds and it'll pass. It's still roadworthy, it's still safe, there's just no ABS on it, etc. So if you'd like to pray, feel free to pray that the part magically, sorry, that's magic wand and magically in 2 sharing slots, we need to be careful. But if you want to pray, and we've sacrificed no chickens, sorry, moving on rapidly. I can work from home probably, but I wasn't encouraged by the guy telling me that there were a couple of cars over in the car park where their parts, they are mechanical problems and their parts are coming next year. So that wasn't encouraging me.
Has anybody got anything else? If we just move on to notices.
Couple of notices. One, there's a service this evening, 7 o'clock, 7 till 8. Everybody's welcome. It's it's not like this. It's a prayer and work, music and everything. So just, if you want to come, please come. 7 o'clock here. Finishes round about 8 o'clock. The other thing is, we closed this week. Anne and David are away. There's no daybreak going on. There's no shop because Lindsay is away and it's closed all summer anyway, isn't it? So there's no parents and tots. So basically we shut, yeah? The other thing is, I have to tell you, which is very important, please do not use the toilets here, the ones that not in the baptistry, the ones behind it, the ones that are there. Please don't use that because we had a bit of bother in the week, right? We just had a little bit of bother insofar as we had a leak. Yeah, there's 2 big boilers in that boiler room there, not the heating that does the heating, the boilers that do the water for the kitchen and the baptistry. And one of them leaked. And we didn't realise it had leaked till quite a few days later when I thought, it's probably that pilot light. I'll ask David to light it. And I went in and then I was swimming. So we've had a bit of issue trying to get that sorted. It's not sorted. Chris the plumber, who has done really well for us. I rung him up and he did come, but he's been back 3 times to try and stop the water because there's 2 boilers and it's connected and I don't know. But whatever, it's stopped now. But there's 60 gallons in them tanks and it's been running away. So there's a lot of water that really we shouldn't be wasting, but we couldn't help it. But it's kept coming and I called him again on Friday, whichever day. I'd called in and it was still coming out and he came and I just texted him and I said to him, look, just put it on a bill, whatever we owe you. And he just said, look, I'll always look after this place, you know that. Those were his words. What we will do, and I'm just letting you know because it's your money that we're spending here, we will try and get one of the boilers working because if we don't have one working, we won't have hot water in the kitchen and we can't open for daybreak because that's illegal. So we've got to try, I think he'll try and do it this week for us, just so as you know. So whatever that costs. But the other thing is, when he turned the water off, it's turned the water off to those toilets as well. So that's why I'm saying, please don't use those toilets. There's two here. There's the disabled one, but please don't use those, okay? Because he's had to turn it off to there to make sure there's no water running down the drain. So, yeah, so it's all in together there, isn't it? So that's it. Thank you.
I think we need to be very grateful to Chris the plumber. We don't know where he stands with the Lord, but he's been very good to this place for quite a while now, isn't it? Yeah. It's going to have a time of worship in song, and then Sam's bringing a word to us.